Hey everybody, coming to you from one of Vancouver's beaches where the blossoms are out on the trees. There are people playing tennis over in the tennis courts. There are camper vans, motorhomes everywhere. And look at all the people playing rugby out there right now. This is West Coast for you. It's awesome. So, I'm going to answer some more of your questions. Let's go.
Forget it anyway I can. Keep on rocking in the free world.
99 problems, but a mortgage ain't one.
Keep on rocking in the free world. Keep on rocking in the free world. Keep on rocking in the free world.
Okay, let's get started with Chris Dorman. Chris Dorman says, Justin, you look the double of Deadmau5. Okay, that wasn't a question, it was a statement, but I've been told that before, and that's where my nickname Credmouse came from, which, by the way, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere else under that handle. Just look for @Credmouse. All right, also there was a question a few videos back about the height of my RV, and I did take out a measuring tape, and it is about 8 feet 6 inches from the ground to the roof, about where the roof vent is. So it's somewhere around there. So hopefully that helps. All right, let's get to some real questions. Mike M says, here's a question or two you may have previously answered. Do you trust that gas station's water supply? He's talking about when I filled up my water at a Shell station with the little rubber hoses, which I do quite often at lots of gas stations. Have you thought about using a filter before it goes into your tank? Yes. Well, first of all, it's city water, and Vancouver city water is sometimes better than bottled water. It's pretty good. So I'm not too worried about that. You obviously check the hose and wash off the end of the hose if you're worried about anything on the end of the hose. But the water coming out of the hose is the same water that's inside the gas station they use to make coffee and everything else, and in the sinks in there. So and 16 years of using it, and I'm just fine. As far as the filter goes, yes, I'm gonna do filter under the sink in the kitchen only, because I'm gonna put the rain collection system on the roof. Hopefully by this summer I'll have that actually done. And I want to filter out any crap that gets on my roof and gets in there. Obviously it's going to be screened, filtered up on the roof, and then have an additional filter under the sink. You obviously don't need it for the shower and toilet though. Okay, by the way, that question came from a couple of people. One awesome inch asked the same question as well. My damn channel says, this might not be your thing, but have you ever thought about having a 4x4 conversion done to your van? Maybe do some expedition type trips. You know, the thought has crossed my mind just because I think they look cool and I've seen them before. And yeah, I'd probably use it once a year, if that. So unless someone else is going to pay for it, I don't see the point in investing in that. I've even, when I worked up on the ski hills, always had 2-wheel drive motorhomes like this and never had a problem. But I'm not planning on going off-road, and quite honestly, I wouldn't want to take this anywhere rough off-road where it's going to shake and abuse it too much anyways. So it's not my thing really. I'd rather have like a dirt bike or something to go play with and go off-road. Chris Chen says, awesome videos. I noticed you kind of harp on new RVs, and I mean like 2015 new, not 2004 new. I live in the Northeast and can hardly find any good used deals. Most are stupid old Class A or C's, not interested. I'm looking at the new Dodge Ram ProMaster chassis. By the way, that's just Ram. Dodge no longer makes trucks, it's just Ram. It's a totally separate division now. I'm looking at the new Dodge Ram ProMaster chassis and the Mercedes chassis, i.e. Pleasureway and Airstream. Pleasureway makes Ford as well, I think maybe Chevy. I was wondering if there is something wrong with newer RVs, or it's just your opinion because of the price. Your opinion would be greatly appreciated. Well, I can't really speak. I mean, to me, a 2000 is brand new when it comes to RVs. Like I've said this before, 15-year-old RV is equal to 2 or 3-year-old car as far as mileage and wear and tear goes. So you'd be kind of stupid to throw your money away. Something like mine would cost you $120,000 to $140,000 new. Why? Why pay that? Let some other sucker who's spent their entire retirement on one of these to drive them 1 week a year, let them take that hit, and then you get it 5, 10, 15 years later, barely broken in, and you're getting a new RV. Now, as far as the new ones go, I would go with the ProMaster over the Sprinter because it's got the American engine in it. It's a V6, but it is American. And I just find that a little, I mean, you could just ask people that own fleets of vans. I had a friend of mine that had a fleet of just over a dozen Ford Econoline vans for his business, and he decided to upgrade them all to Sprinters on leases. His leases are now up on his Sprinters, and he's screaming bloody murder about them, and he's going back to Ford Econolines. He's going to because Ford's actually discontinuing the Econolines now. They're being discontinued, and they're replacing them with a Transit full-size Euro van, and he doesn't like that. I mean, you know, sometimes there's benefits to the older ones. Yes, he gets worse gas mileage with the American vans, but they can be serviced anywhere. Parts are cheap, and I mean, they're just cheap to maintain in comparison to a Sprinter. So he actually saves money spending more gas on one of these. So it's all relative, man. To each their own. I personally am not a fan of the Euro vans. I don't like the small engines in them either. I'd rather have a Hemi in this thing, or a 440. But anyways, I'm happy with what it's got. It's got a 360 in it. Again, if you're saving $900,000 a month in rent, who cares about gas mileage? That's the way I look at it. That's good for this edition. So you guys have any more questions, drop them in the comments below. I'm going to chill out here, have a cup of coffee, and watch people play rugby, and maybe talk to some of my neighbors. Cheers. Keep on rocking in the free world. Hey, so what do you think of van life?
Van life's fucking awesome.
Styrofoam boxes for the O's.